that we call home, and it's night and I'm alone and I'm alive.
Good Tuesday evening. This is the Talkin VAWLS Network. This is your Tennessee Presbyterian post-game show. My name is the Indy Kid.
I'm UT Dover.
What's going on, man?
Not much. Trying to keep the energy levels up and knock this nasty virus that I've got. So
are you saying you wouldn't suggest it to anybody?
It's not recommended.
Well, good deal. I hope you get to feeling better, man. And so let's kind of run down the chat here. Let's see what we got going on here. See some fascination with the Presbyterian name. Got Orange Pulse Worst Triple J. He's out again tonight. Can't remember what the injury is exactly. Wayne Starnes, absolutely fascinated with the Presbyterian Blue Hose name, as you'll see by 50 comments talking about it here, as they did change their name from the Presbyterian Stockings to the Presbyterian Blue Hose. Gosh, as something about the comment about those Blue Hose Puritans around. So, yeah, whatever, man. But Tim Bradley, smash that like button, guys. Terry Reed, yes. Undying voice. That game was pretty quick. Yeah, it was. I mean, it was over in about an hour and 45 minutes tonight. Lucas Sharp must have had some money going tonight. We covered, and I'm happy about that. Pro Wrestling Guru, good to see Bailey played better today. Yeah, he did. Absolutely. Yeah, I shouldn't even have. All right. We'll kind of miss. We got boosted 931. Vols. Palm Beach, did we win? Yeah, absolutely. 86-44. Cody Branch didn't even watch the game tonight. I mean, it was a pretty good showing here by these guys. And there's some other guys in the chat here as well. So appreciate you guys tuning in. We're up to 50 people right now. So let's hit that thumbs up. Hit that like button, guys. Share it out to anybody that it may be a UT fan as well. But opening thoughts on the game tonight?
It's tough. Playing a team like Presbyterian, you don't get a lot out of it. The best thing that I saw, you got some more guys in the game, involved in the game. You saw a little bit from Adu. You had Jancic in, you had DeBungy played. So
yeah, he canned a three there late.
Yeah.
Looked pretty good with it too.
So you had a lot of guys get some minutes, which is good to see. And I think that there really wasn't. You saw on Saturday or on Friday with Tennessee Tech, there seemed to be a little bit of a letdown. And it's hard to tell if it's based on the opponent or, sometimes you just come out and you don't have your day. But it was a struggle against Tennessee Tech on Saturday up until, midway through the second half. So to come out and take care of a team that you're supposed to take care of, handle business early and kind of get it out of the way. You look tonight, shot the ball well. And I think that just goes along with what I've said. This team is going to, go as far as their shot goes. On nights when they're off, like you look at when they played Villanova, couldn't hit the broadside of the barn and, got ran out of the gym. Of course, that was a really good opponent. But on nights like tonight when you shoot almost 56%, it's a good night. So it's good to see Vescovi and Chandler. I think those are going to be your kind of steady Eddie guys that are providing you with some points night in and night out. I was surprised to see Bailey start.
I was too. And because I know the last game it was Powell, and then they switched it up with Bailey, but Bailey was 4 out of 8, and every shot he had was a 3-pointer tonight, 50%. They actually shot right at 52% from 3-point range tonight. And like you said, they shot 56 for the game. That's an impressive night of shooting. And I mean, Justin Powell, 5 out of 5 from 3-point range. He shot well, 3 rebounds, 3 assists to go along with that 15 points. Ziegler, 2 out of 3. Victor Bailey, 4 out of 8. Chandler, 1 out of 4. Vescovy, 1 out of 5. So Jabone J, 1 out of 1. So I mean, they were very, very efficient tonight as well. And then assists, 26 assists tonight. I haven't seen the turnovers yet, but I would imagine that's a pretty good assist to turnover ratio. But I think it was a good bounce back performance, especially after the performance against Tennessee Tech on Sunday. I know Barnes wasn't happy with that, just an 11-point win. But I mean, everything went right. I don't really know if you compare Tennessee Tech and Presbyterian, who's the better team. Obviously, probably by watching it, you would think maybe Tennessee Tech, but I'm not sure on that either. But so Tennessee they'll get ready now as they go Saturday, 2:00, Colorado. So that'll be definitely a step up in the competition there.
Yeah, big time. Let's see, Colorado came to Knoxville last year, and I think went
close game.
With, it was under 10-point win, I believe, but they won. If I remember,
it was that series kind of came together. Somebody had to cancel last year because of COVID, and in Colorado they put it together.
That's right.
Pretty quick and put that home and home together. I can't remember who it was that had to cancel right off the top of my head, but yeah, it was. I think it went down to the end on it. Pretty close game there.
So, and that was one thing I do recall about that. It was that was a physical matchup and one of the first kind of real tests for Tennessee. So yeah, like Wayne Stern says, Colorado started off pretty hot, 6-0 or 6-1 right now. It's definitely going to be a step up in competition. The thing that moving forward as the competition improves this year and heading towards conference play, the thing that concerns me and will continue to concern me is inside post presence. You get a team that has a couple of true bigs. It's going to be if Tennessee's not hitting their shots on the outside and expanding the floor, it could be bad news. So we'll see how that matchup plays. I've not really looked at Colorado's lineup to see who they have back from last year, but if they're if they've won 6 games already, they're probably pretty well rounded.
Yeah, it's John Hill. Appreciate the super chat for $5. Let's play like that every game. Go Big Orange. Yeah, absolutely. Nice to see tonight for sure. Let's see who Colorado has played. Kind of pull that up here, and then we can kind of get a gauge of what they've had. So they have played. We'll find out a little bit more about them tomorrow as they play UCLA tomorrow night, number 5.
Okay.
So
yeah.
So that'll be a good test. 6-1 overall right now. They have played. They were on the Costa Rica tour, okay, and and then they had this powerhouse Colorado versus the Colorado School of Mines.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's a sleeper team right there.
Yeah. Watch out for. Never heard of that one before. It's pretty interesting, but lost their at Nebraska, beat Montana State, beat New Mexico, beat Maine. According to this, lost to Southern Illinois. Is this last year? No. Okay, beat Duquesne, Brown, and Stanford. Okay,
Nope.
so nothing, nothing major. I mean, maybe we can get that Costa Rica tour and the Colorado School of Mines on the schedule next year.
I'd like to see that Colorado School of Mines.
Yeah, yeah. Well, maybe they'll be on ESPN Plus at some point. We can pull
on
it.
on the Ocho.
Yeah, that'll kind of be one of those schools that sneaks up like baseball, where all of a sudden you've got Dallas Baptist, who's a top 20. You might see a College World Series of Dallas Baptist versus Colorado School of the Mines this year. So, and it's MINES, not School of the Mines, not like Meeting of the Minds or something. But so Colorado, that's definitely going to be a step up in competition. That is on the road. It's Saturday at 2 p.m. I'm not sure the channel on that just yet. I don't see anything listed from what I'm looking at.
Fox Sports 1.
It is FS1, okay. And then, so they got a few good games coming up. They got at Colorado. We got Texas Tech
at
and
Madison Square Garden.
Yep. And then UNC Greensboro. So I wasn't sure on that. UNC Greensboro's coach left and went to Cincinnati. So I guess that – so I don't know. I don't know who took over. I don't really know what they're doing this year. I know that a lot of people were saying that they thought he should have been to take over Roy Williams at North Carolina, and then it went to Hubert Davis. So I know there's still people saying, well, North Carolina made the wrong decision going with Davis over Miller is his name. I know he's drilled Illinois the other night, Cincinnati, so he's a good coach. So they, a lot of shoes to fill. And I'm kind of curious to see if that's a similar effect of when Forbes left ETSU. And, of course, they had a rough year last year. But Desmond Oliver's got ETSU ever since the UT game. He's got them playing some good ball right now. But, I'm curious to see what's going on with Josiah Jordan James. I'm not sure what the injury is there. Not sure what.
I believe it's a hand or finger or thumb type deal. I saw him a couple times on the sideline. I couldn't tell if he had a brace on or anything, but I don't know if he's day to day or if I've not seen anything given any sort of timetable, but it's interesting because with him not even dressed out, that certainly it puts the opportunity for some funky rotations out there. At one time, they had Uros and Kamwa, and then 3-point guards. I think you had Powell, Ziegler, and Chandler out there at the same time. Or maybe it was Vescovi and Chandler. But I think a team like Presbyterian, you're not giving up a lot having those two guys on the floor at the same time. But any stiffer competition and not just giving up one guy, it's like 1.5 guys offensively. Now, Kamwa's come a long way. He's improved his game so much, but you certainly step back a little bit depending on the rotation that you got in.
Yeah. Let's see. I missed this super chat. I saw Dustin mention earlier, but Dustin Sellers, $5. Hey, guys, what's your impression of our post position leading into SEC play? We seem to be better in the last few years, but sure not elite. I know he mentioned on it later where you addressed it, but yeah, that post play, it's, if you're playing Euros in there, I think that's, he's kind of spelling people, but we need Fulkerson, and I still think Huntley Hatfield's coming along. I think he's getting better all the time. He looked at Villanova. He looked like an 18-year-old who should still be in high school. The next day against North Carolina, it was, a big improvement. I think as the season progresses, I expect him to be more of I don't know if I'd see him starting because, like you said, Kamwa has really come a long ways. But I think there's going to be nights with him to where he's going to be hit and miss. I think there's going to be nights where, like he had the double-double out of the gate. There was the next game after that he had 20-some points, and then it was, I think, nothing against Villanova. So I believe you're going to see up and down from him. Honestly, until Fulkerson's consistent, I kind of expect the same out of him as well.
And that's exactly what I was going to say. You know, tonight was a night that I was really looking for Fulkerson to kind of come out of, I don't know if you want to call it a funk or whatever he's in, and you know, have a 15, 20-point night. You'd think that this is the type of competition that he could just dominate. And he ended up he took two shots. He was 1 of 2 with 4 points. Hit both his foul shots. The one shot he made was a nice move in the paint. And I thought, okay, because it looked like Fulkerson of 2 years ago. It looked like the Fulky that kind of, you know, took the team on his back and earned him preseason first team All SEC last year. And then you had everything that happened and things didn't materialize for him last season. But I expect him to get back to it because in the broadcast tonight, Dane Bradshaw was talking about if his season didn't end the way it did. And I think Fulkerson has actually said this as well, publicly, if not just to Bradshaw. If he didn't get elbowed and that was the way his season ended, he wasn't sure he'd come back. So that's a lot of pressure to put on yourself. I'm coming back because almost like unfinished business, or, you know, you want it to end in a manner that's better. He didn't want to go out like that. So hopefully he comes around.
Yeah. Let's see. John Hill for $5. At least it isn't the school of the mimes. That would be interesting. Yes, it would. So maybe we can get the barn-burning, heavy-hitting action of Colorado School of the Mines versus School of the Mimes. Would be one for the ages right there as well. Maybe that can go on the Costa Rica tour while they're at it. So that would be pretty wild indeed. But I see some people talking about Adu. What's up with him? I think with Adu, see, Boosted 931 mentions it here with him. He had, I cannot remember what it was exactly. He missed part of camp. So Rick Barnes specifically mentioned some with Adu, how he's getting up to speed. So we'll see how it goes with him as we get it more into the season. Huntley Hatfield, of course, I think he's got the actual body and size. I think they're probably still getting in that mindset, getting him. They're probably shedding some. Yeah, and I think there's that transition from high school to college. You're coming in with more of that high school body, having to shed maybe some of that bad weight, and you're putting back on with the good weight. So, I mean, you've got these guys. I think Fulkerson, I don't know if he's 100% right now.
Agreed.
So I think that's playing part in him. Of course, he didn't have to do much tonight, and they've kind of let it happen in those games because tonight he was, let's see, 4 points, 5 rebounds. So, I mean, 1 out of 2 from the field. He didn't have to do much tonight, and I think that's good on these nights when you play a Presbyterian or somebody that you're, especially when you're on shooting it, you can kind of rest him a little bit. But, an interesting point here. Fulky had NBA talent 2 years ago. Where's it all went? He has the skill. Part of it last year was COVID. He just had a rough year last year. Like you said, had he not gotten elbowed, I don't know that he comes back. But, talking about NBA talent, I was looking today at the 2022 Top 100 that's on ESPN.com, and Kennedy Chandler was 21, 23, somewhere in there. Justin Powell was the next one at like 65, and then Josiah Jordan James was ranked number 100. There were no other Vols in that top 100. So, if that's the case, I think there's that. You've got BJ Edwards signed for next year. Where do they go? How many spots are they going to have? Based on that, Fulkerson, of course, he's a super senior, and I can't see Kennedy Chandler coming back for another year unless, something happens with his stock. So if that's the case, they may not have much to replace for next year. And that may be a case where you've got Chandler coming in, or I'm sorry, not Chandler, Edwards, and then you've got maybe you hit the portal, maybe you hit – I know they're still after some guys for this class, but there just really may not be many shoes to fill. And I just can't see James going, and I can't see him being drafted in 2 rounds. I could see possibly Powell based on his size, his shooting, because the NBA is a shooting game now. I mean, if Eve Pons didn't get drafted, I don't see Josiah Jordan James getting drafted either.
Yeah.
Can't see it, but let's see. Folky took a fall. I mean, I was kind of in and out on the game, so I kind of missed that. So maybe that was part of it. Let's see. Someone was saying thought Fulkerson broke something. I haven't seen anything on that, but
yeah, he went up for a shot and kind of came down awkwardly and in a heap. It looked pretty bad. He laid there for a minute, but he got up, took his shots, and he was back in the game a little bit after that. But it did look pretty scary. But
yeah, and they need him. Again, it's a good night. You can kind of rest him, get him ready for Colorado. And again, I'm not, like you said, I'm pretty sure that was a physical game last year. I can't imagine that's going to be different because they didn't have, I'm pretty sure they didn't have a coaching turnover. With all of it that happens anymore between basketball and football, it's kind of hard to keep up with. But I expect probably a similar game. I'm not sure Colorado's a team that likes to run if they're more of a grinded out type of team. I think Tennessee's Achilles is going to be those teams that like to grind it out. So I think that's where they can struggle. But I do like that Barnes is kind of playing around. Look what they did against North Carolina. They went to that 3-guard lineup and wore North Carolina out. I think that's their answer for these teams that try to slow them down, because if you've got those 3 ball handlers, especially you got Chandler and you got Ziegler with their speed, and if they're hitting, that's going to change some teams' game plans.
I mean, heck,
going on.
You could even expand it and put 4 of them out there
Easily.
When James gets back healthy, because of his size and his rebounding ability, you could throw him in there, and that's another guy that can handle the ball, but also kind of play inside. That's exactly what Alabama did to Tennessee last year, and that game right there really changed the course of the season for Tennessee. Kind of opened the floodgates and really exposed a lot of things for the Vols. I guess defensively, playing a team with quick guards last year was a real struggle for Tennessee. They were always slow, and then the help side was even slower. And I don't know how many just wide open layups that they gave up, that's so funny considering Rick Barnes's calling card is defense. It's just you don't expect to see that, but he's also kind of old school, and I think he likes to run with bigs, and that's You got it's a give and take, and I mean I know he's earning millions of dollars and he gets that as a coach, but we've done it on this show before. You've called him out to task. He needs to take a look in the mirror and evaluate what's going on, and at some point you've got to play to what's on the court instead of a fundamental setup or a style.
I would not, and I know people saying you got to have the post presence. You don't force it though. I mean, you can't. If you're facing a team who's got a major post presence advantage on you, you can't do anything with it, and they're shutting you down. I would not hesitate to basically go 5 guards. I would not hesitate to put Josiah Jordan-James at the 5, and then run Powell, Vescovy, Chandler, and Ziegler. I mean, if you're getting dominated in the paint, what's it going to matter at that point? What's it going to matter? Yeah, and you might as well go with it. And you could go Fulkerson down low, you could go James, you could go Kamwa. I mean, you could go Huntley Hatfield and then run 4 guards with it. I think we'll see it at some point because somebody's going to force that hand, unless Barnes is too old school because he normally likes to have those 2 post guys.
Yeah,
and
but
that's what I want to see if he's willing to evolve to that.
You talk about the potential of running somebody out of the gym, up and down the floor and spreading the court. If you've got 2 of those guys hitting, that'd be ridiculous.
If you get a 5 guard lineup and you've got a couple big post guys that with Euros type flexibility,
yeah,
you could smoke them, man.
Yeah.
I mean, even a big guy's not going to be able to keep up with Ziegler or Chandler, or even probably Powell or Bailey for that matter.
Exactly.
So, I mean, if you can get them spaced out and pull them out to the perimeter, you can make things happen.
Well, and that's like I said, Alabama did. It was a shot fake and a drive right by somebody for an easy layup. And I could see Tennessee doing that to some teams with the right guys out on the floor. And it's hard to combat because, I mean, do you go small to play against that? It's kind of one of those give and takes. And like I said, it all comes down to Barnes. And does this whole season and this roster sets up so many interesting dynamics because, first of all, we've seen him go deeper in his bench than I think I've ever seen him at Tennessee. It's not necessarily out of necessity because it's not like we got a bunch of guys out. James is out right now, but it's not like you're having one guy in. You saw and you've seen even, going back to North Carolina and Villanova, a lot of guys are getting in the game. So it's not like he's going, 7, 8 guys. He's going all the way down the bench right now. And, we talked about it leading up to the season. Is he just using this as trying to find the right combination of, your top 5, 6 guys and then the next couple to come off the bench, or is it just that deep?
I don't know, man. It's a good question because I know there was times last year we thought it was a deep team, and then when it came down to it, they went 6 or 7.
Yeah,
was as far as they went. But I think there's more depth this year on it. I had another question here. Why doesn't Adu play more minutes? Think he and Fulkerson should be on the floor together. I think with Adu, it'll be something maybe later on in the year. And mentioned it earlier, not sure if it was tuned in, but he's still getting up to speed from what Barnes said a couple of weeks ago. He's still getting his conditioning and stuff. I can't remember if he didn't have COVID. It was, I don't know. I'm not even going to guess at it because I'm probably going to be wrong any way I go. But
and I think he's in the same boat. I think Huntley Hatfield. I think it's just that adjustment to the college game. And, you look at a night like tonight against a team like Presbyterian, And that's the ideal situation to get those guys some game minutes out on the floor. You know, if I could be mistaken, but is tonight not Adu's first minutes?
No, he's played a little bit. I mean,
Came in and
it's been about the
mop-up
same.
duty. Okay.
Yeah.
But you know, it's good to see. It's good to see the guys getting out there. Man, it's, you know, we talk about it on the football show. You take care of business. You beat the teams you're supposed to beat, and that's what they did tonight. You know, it was really never in doubt once they kind of settled in and stopped trading baskets. Tennessee went on multiple offensive runs. I think there was a 10 or 12-point run, and then at one point I want to say like a 17-2 run, something like that. So that's what you want to see. You want to see this team start to click offensively, and then when they're doing that, you know, a lot of the offense tonight was created by defense, and that's the thing that I like to see. You had a bunch of hands in the passing lanes, balls tipped away, some fast break opportunities and transition opportunities caused by, you know, good defense. So I did notice Kennedy Chandler had, I want to say it was at least 2, if not 3, opportunities at the rim that he didn't finish. And I think that's a little bit of, you know, transitioning from the high school game to the college. And then there was one, and Bradshaw, I think, called him out big time. He had a steal, I think, right at about half court. And one-on-one fast break, he stopped and pulled up for a 3 and missed it. So it's those little things that looked like a freshman move right there. I'd rather see him take the ball right at the rim and draw the foul, or you know, pull back and let the offense get set up. Even though this team struggles at time to run a half court set.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Keith Brown mono. That's what it was with Adu. I could not remember what it was. It was mono. But yeah, you mentioned about Chandler and the layups. You know, he had some of those in the Villanova game too, where they had a chance to kind of halt runs or kind of get some points up and just missed some easy ones. So, you know, he has those freshman moments on him. I'm curious how many. ESPN doesn't update everything on it. I mean, Chandler still, he had 15 and 7 tonight. That's a pretty good night for him. So, I mean, could have been more with those layups, and you got to have those with him as well. Like I said, that's your freshman. They're going to play like it occasionally, even your 5-star guys for sure. But I like it when they put him and Ziegler. And Ziegler, what a surprise, man. You called it. I think that was your breakout guy for the year, was it not? That was your under-the-radar guy.
I just based on the little bit that I saw, I was super excited at the potential he had. But I didn't know if he'd get on the floor because Kennedy Chandler. But it's super cool to see both of those guys out there, and they're both so fast.
Yeah. I mean, we saw the potential against North Carolina, what they did. I mean, they wreaked havoc on North Carolina. And there's I'm just curious to see when it boils down to it, if Barnes has the guts to go 5 guards. And I say guards because James is more, he can play any position. You know, he can shoot, he can rebound, he can do a little bit of all of it. There's nothing that I think he's just consistently great at, but he's good at multiple things. I don't know if I'd call him necessarily a glue guy, but, you know, he's got those capabilities on it. But if you had a James, you could easily run him at the 5 and go Powell, Vescovy, Ziegler, Chandler. man, I just wonder if Barnes has the guts to do it or not.
that remains to be seen. I think Josiah Jordan James, his strength is his athleticism by far. You know, he can alter shots, closing in as a defender, but rebounding, and that surprised me that he came out of the season as the leading rebounder for the team last year, and I want to say led in offensive rebounds overall as well. But I think he's just got a nose for the ball. One thing, and it's hard to on a night like tonight, a game like this, to call out teams. Granted, I just played rec basketball. I didn't play in high school or anything, but from the very first, when I was out there on the little 8-foot goal or whatever, it was always follow your shot. And man, none of these guys follow their shots. These guys could rebound so much more if they would follow their shots. And then what happened to boxing out too? It's a lost start. Yeah,
it's a lost start. Yeah, it is. It's rare that you see it. We drill Presbyterian. We want Gonzaga and Duke. I'll be honest. I wish Tennessee was playing them. Not that I necessarily think they beat them, especially with the non-conference schedule. I want to play the best, see how you stack up on it. And, of course, they played Villanova, and it didn't go too well. But I wish Gonzaga – I mean, kind of surprised because Tennessee and Gonzaga have played quite a few times over the years. They've had some really good games as well. I actually they came to Knoxville once. My wife and I went down and watched that game. I think Tennessee got beat that night. It's when Pearl was the coach there. But, I wish they were playing them. But
listen, the 6 games you've got before Christmas, you're going to find out a lot about this team. Colorado, Texas Tech, UNC Greensboro, USC Upstate. Then you got Memphis and Arizona. So that's going to be a tough run to close out non-conference play. And then you're right into Alabama. So
love it. I love the schedule.
Yeah, I mean, it will. You come out of that and head into conference play. You're 4-1 right now. If you can have 8 or 9 wins heading into conference play, that's a pretty good indication of where you are as a team with that schedule.
I mean they actually went to 5-1.
5-1.
So
okay.
I think Colorado's winnable. Texas Tech in New York. I'm not sure if they're ranked. I don't keep up with rankings like I used to. It's just
and it's hard right now this early in the season. You have Alabama lost the other day to Iona, I believe, and then that's like you had Kentucky losing to somebody early last year. It's really hard to know a lot right now. You get to the middle of conference play, and you'll really know where teams kind of stack up, and the rankings are a little bit more relevant at that point.
I think that where it's going to show you're getting these different matchups. Of course, the Texas Tech, Greensboro. Don't know much about SC Upstate or USC Upstate. Memphis, that's going to be a challenge. They've got some post play, I think, that can give Tennessee some trouble. Arizona's looked pretty good so far as well. I mean, it gets you, like you said, you're getting right into it. Alabama, then Ole Miss, LSU. Those will be 3 pretty tough games. And oh my gosh, at LSU, something always seems to happen that's just screwy when they go to LSU. So you know that's not going to be easy. South Carolina, Tennessee should handle them. And then you're at Kentucky, at Vandy, LSU again. So, and then they've got at Texas. So that's another big game. You start getting to that point of the year, that middle point, that end of January up into February, you're going to see – I'm curious to see how this team's conditioning is going to be because it's I'm kind of fascinated with the different looks of conditioning under coaches. Like with Conzo Martin, I wasn't necessarily a fan of him as a coach. I mean, didn't dislike him as a person, but I just wasn't a fan of his style. But one thing about it was there was no teams that Tennessee would play that were more physical.
Right.
Then even a couple years ago, you had Grant Williams and Schofield. It was hard to out physical Tennessee. And now they've kind of – I felt ever since those guys left, though, a lot of times Tennessee's not the more physical team. Mm-hmm. And I think it's I don't know if it's a shift in how they've recruited. I don't know if it's a shift in strength and conditioning. I'm not aware and can't remember them making any changes there. So I don't know if maybe it's recruiting a different type of player or what. But, you know, that's pretty fascinating how that's kind of changed. So I'm curious to see how they hold up along the way, especially if a lot of these freshmen in the post, how are they going to match up when you get into conference play against some of these more physical teams? That's going to be really interesting to see. And like we've said on here a lot, and a lot of attention's been given to it, how can they do in the post? I mean, that's what – it's funny to me with Gonzaga, keep mentioning that. They're big guys, not even 200 pounds. And, you know, he's projected number one pick coming out, but he's like 6. I don't know. I know he's a beanpole, basically. So, you know, different types of players. But I'm just curious to see how physical this team can be.
Yeah. That's always kind of depending on the type of opponent you're playing. You've got to either match their physicality and intensity, or you've got to outrun them and outwork them if you're not as big and strong as they are. And that showed a little bit. I don't know that Villanova was necessarily bigger than Tennessee, but I mean, even their guard you know, I got the brain fog going on right now, so I can't remember his name. But every time he drove the ball, he was getting that forearm into the defender. They were boxing out. They were diving after every loose ball. Just kind of that out hustling. And that's as a team that maybe lacks a little bit in size and strength. If you outwork and out hustle, it doesn't matter how strong somebody is. If you want it more than them and you're given more than they are, you know, it's
Villanova was a lot more physical.
Oh, absolutely.
Than they were. And like I said, they out hustled them. They out physicaled them. Yeah, the guard, and I'm saying, well, I can't remember the name, but I mean, he would post up, and when he got down, they couldn't. I mean, that was the thing with Villanova. They were more physical, and their footwork was just – it was night and day better than what Tennessee's was. So, I mean, that's an aspect I want to see moving forward. And then when we get into – we've seen the one physical team they played, and it didn't go well. How do they adjust to that?
Right.
And I don't know that they can out-physical some of these teams. So does Barnes – that's what I want to see. Does he just totally shift gears on it? Because, like I said, if you're getting out physical, if you're getting, you know, out rebounded, if you got a team that's bigger, that's causing you trouble, why force it? Why keep forcing Euros in there? Just, or, you know, you can go with one, but I think that's where you've got to adjust. then. And I think Tennessee's built for that. Now, I think a couple of years down the line, I think Tennessee's going to have some, if everybody sticks around, they continue to develop, I think Tennessee's going to be a strong inside team.
Right.
But I think it's a couple years away. I think there's a lot of strength and conditioning, a lot of weight, good weight that's got to be put on to some of these guys. And then, of course, we'll see what they add along the way as well. Right now, I think they're more speed and finesse than they are physical.
I agree. But you got to look at what they have and guys that the potential's there. You get their bodies developed a little bit more for the game. And, you look at Huntley Hatfield, give him a year or two in the program, and he's got the frame. And from what I've seen, the athleticism, if he can, polish his game up a little bit, put on some good weight, learn some good technique, he could be a force, really for this team in the SEC. So it's interesting, and we'll have to see. If you look at Barnes and his time at Tennessee, to be a guy that wants to run kind of traditional, old school, a couple guys down in the post, he's never really recruited, solid post presence. He's had some guys that have played all right there, and he's developed some guys for that position, but he's never really brought in a true big that's been kind of the man and ready to go. Thought we had a good pickup in Anasicki last year from the transfer portal, and I don't think he was talent wise at that level. And then you look at other guys he's brought in, Drew Pember. It's one of those things. If that's what he wants to do, he needs to fill his roster with guys that can do that.
I saw where Anasicki, he transferred out to somewhere in California. He's back 20, averaging double a game. Yeah, Pember's doing pretty good things over at UNC Asheville. I saw Ticket Gaines doing good things up at
Mason.
George Mason. His 3-point percentage is phenomenal. It's the last I saw, it was 11 out of 17 on the season. I mean, that's insane numbers. Brody Badgett, do you think Chandler's won that? I'll be shocked if he's not.
Yeah, it'd be really surprising. It'd be really surprising if he's not.
Yeah, I just don't see it. But, you mentioned, I think Barnes went after, here's one of them. He went after, and there were times that I think Tennessee felt maybe optimistic about getting him. Of course, you're going up against Duke, man. You don't win a lot of those battles when you're Tennessee still building that program, but, they did go up against the top teams to get Chandler. And then you had Jabari Smith, who went to Auburn as well. I know Tennessee tried with him, he's probably another one and done also. But I'm curious. I like the Huntley Hatfield. I'm curious to see what he can do because he's got a little bit of touch from outside. He's not just a 5-foot or nothing guy. He can do a little bit of everything as far as shooting, stepping out along the way. From what I've read about Adu, he can as well. He can step outside. I'm not sure about 3-point range, but at least he's got a mid-range jumper, if not more. And then, they've got size. It's just according to how it is. I just think the game has evolved and progressed to where you got to have a real interesting style. The days of having a guy who can't do anything but shoot layups or dunk. I just think the game is past that by now. You've got to have a full roster of guys who can shoot. Mm-hmm. And I just think it's recruiting guys for defense, I'll be honest, I think it's pointless in this day and time, just because of the amount of emphasis placed on the 3-point shot, on being able to shoot the ball. I just think, there's those teams who can make it work, but most of your teams you're seeing going deep or having the best ones, they can shoot. They can shoot pretty well there.
Yeah.
But let's see where we're at. We're at about 50 minutes in. I think we're going to wrap this thing up here just a minute here, but just kind of preview for the week. We will be live tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Hopefully we don't get any kind of surprise news. Just kind of cover. I'm sure there'll be plenty to talk about with the Vandy game. Is Heupel staying? Everybody seemed to think from the Ainge interview today I never heard him say I'm not going anywhere. So until Oklahoma hires a coach, I'll be honest, part of me's going to be nervous, but we'll discuss that tomorrow night. Hopefully, we'll have a little more clarification on that as well. Once again, Tennessee rolls tonight. I think probably one of their more complete performances of the year. Like you said earlier, they went through about the first 5 minutes and traded baskets, and then they just went on their runs and took care of business after that. But the plan is we'll go live tomorrow night. Plan is we'll go Saturday live after the Colorado game. That's going to fall within the Georgia-Alabama game, but we'll figure out a way to make that work as well. So that'll probably be around 4 p.m. Hey, we talk about the Blue Hose tonight, and we got online strips without clothing tonight. So everything's going nicely. Here we go, a couple of them. So, yeah, wrong chat for the Blue Hose tonight. I guess that's where they figuring come in. But any final thoughts before we wrap this thing up?
No, big win. Everyone gets you closer to that kind of magic number of 20 that you hope gets you into the NCAA tournament. So take care of business against a team that you should. Let's pack it up and move on to Colorado.
Let's do it. And just to reiterate this, he did not say, he said, we're happy in Knoxville. Didn't say we're not going anywhere. So that's going to wrap it up. I'll get that pointing. He's Dauber. I'm the Indy Kid. This is the Talkin VAWLS Network. Thanks for tuning in with us, guys. Again, we'll see you tomorrow night at 7. You guys have a good rest of the night. Have a good day tomorrow. And we are out of here.